Namaste everyone. Hello. I hope you enjoyed the previous videos that I made earlier. And today I want to go ahead and show you a couple of postures. We're going to break down some foundational postures for you in regards to some leg work, a little bit of shoulder work. Of course, most of the yoga classes are going to be full body experience, but today we're going to do what I would refer to as a 101 foundations class. It's a little slower movement, but I think for all of us, slowing down is good periodically. And then, of course, later in the future, I'm going to be doing some vinyasa flows for you. So grab your mat. I do have a block today. If you don't have blocks, you can always use like a book. You can use maybe weights, like a larger weight might help too. You can improvise if you need to. Blanket if you have lower back pain, so you can place behind you so you can sit on the blanket. Today I'm not going to use the blanket on and off the mat, but if you'd like, you can use a beach towel or blanket for your knees. So as we get started, go ahead and find a comfortable seat. And this is called Sukhasana. This is easy seat. We usually start our yoga classes either sitting down or standing up. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat. And again, we'll start with the hands either, on the knees down for those times when you might feel a little edgy, a little flighty. You can even place the hands on the earth, and that might give you a little bit more stability and grounding here. And again, just find a comfortable place wherever the hands feel up for receiving. If you're feeling open, maybe you need a little both. And again, just find what works for you. Allow the crown of the head to be in between the shoulders. Relax the shoulders down, elbows down towards the mat. And then again, relaxing the tongue down towards the palate, the bottom of the placing tongue near the bottom of the teeth. And then allowing yourself just to drop here to this space. And you might hear some outside distractions during your practice at home or maybe on my video. Just allow yourself to just kind of let go of those distractions. We have those that come in and out of our life all the time. So we're just going to practice our yoga today as you breathe in. Inhale, receive the breath. Exhale, release the breath. Let's do that together one more time. Inhale your breath. Audibly let it go. Receiving the breath here. Inhale your breath. Exhale the breath. Allowing the breath to rise and fall at your own rhythm here. And as we start the breath, wave-like breath. Inhaling the breath, let the breath rise from the tailbone. Belly, chest, shoulders. Exhale, breath, shoulders, lower rib cage, belly. Inhale, breath. Exhale, breath. And again, just allowing your breath to rise and fall. And take 2 more breaths on your own. And as you gently open the eyes, let the chin drop down towards your chest and allow the gaze to look down. allowing the shoulders to relax. And so my spine is still long and tall. My ribs are still engaged. I still have a nice, strong core here. And then inhale, raise the gaze back up, and let's take the gaze over to your right. I'll mirror you. And then exhale back towards center. Let's take the other gaze to the other side. And again, just allow your shoulders to relax. And then bring the head back to center. Beautiful. Extend the legs out in front. So you can extend them long onto your mat. I'm just going to face the camera here. Take a deep breath here and just relax the legs. Shake them out. Couple breaths. All right, let's go ahead and come into our tabletop. Tabletop is a foundational pose, so the knees are going to go directly below the hips. The hands are going to open up nice and wide like big starfish, and we're going to extend those hands out towards the mat. So knees can open up wide. The palms are going to come onto the earth, and the fingertips are going to be nice and firm, like little gecko hands, but the palms are soft. We're going to push into the hands and rotate those shoulders up. And we call this a Hasta Bandha. The gaze is soft down. We're going to curl the toes under just to kind of open up the belly and get the belly started so that it knows that we're going to start to move in the belly here. Raise the knees up just a couple inches and you'll feel the engagement of the belly. The ribs are going to come together. The belly starts to tighten. And hopefully you felt that as you lower the knees down. All right, let's do a little opening of the psoas, the belly. Drop the belly, bring the tailbone up, and the gaze is just soft, looking forward. My shoulders are in and up. And then as I move into that scary cat position, we're going to rotate those shoulders up towards the sky, hollow out the belly, tailbone is coming inwards. We're taking the gaze back. And then as you lower, drop the belly, bring the tailbone up. Don't over-exaggerate the lift of the head. Just take the gaze forward just slightly because we don't want to dump the head or the neck into the back of the spine. And then exhale. You can even bend the elbows as you move into this movement of happy cow and scary cat. This is really good for, you know, those times when you've been sitting at your desk or if you're feeling really tight in the lower back, shoulders. Couple of movements here on your own. And the inhalations and exhalations, for now, let's just try to breathe in and out with whatever you feel, not holding the breath. And then as we come back to center, we're going to bring the right hip over to the right. So I'm going to take that hip over to the right, taking the gaze over the right shoulder. So I'm moving the tailbone over to the right. And then I'm just going to move the tailbone over to the left. So I'm swaying that left hip over to the left. You can gaze over the left shoulder. You could keep the gaze down. What feels good for you in your neck. So we're going to wag the tail of the dog. We're just going to move it left and right. And let's come back to center. Bring the backs of the toes together. So backs of the toes together. And for me, I like to open my knees wide. That gives me a little bit of space for my belly, my chest to drop into my thighs. Now, this may or may not feel good for you. It's called child's pose. You can drop the head down onto the mat. If this isn't available to you, you can always go into puppy pose. So the forearms come down, the tailbone rises, and you just kind of feel the lower back shoulder opening here. So There's a couple of options for you. You can, again, shift back onto the back of the thighs. Now you can also bring the knees a little closer. So it's up to you on what feels good here. Again, this is going to be your practice, and you're going to want to kind of experience the postures. There's no pain in yoga. As we rise up into our tabletop one more time, bring the knees about hip width apart. You can use a block. You can use 2 blocks. I'm only going to use 1 for now. As you bring the blocks here onto your mat, bring the right foot in between the hands. Now, for some of us, bringing that leg forward may be a little awkward, so you may need to grab that leg and ankle and lift it with the hand so that you can bring the ankle. The ankle and knee are going to be in line here. So we really want that foundation so that this is supported in the knee. Now blocks. The blocks have different sizes. We got low, medium, and high. And so you can bring that block and really kind of place the fingertips slightly on the block. And again, for some of us, we may not need it. You might feel it in the deep inner thigh area. Couple breaths here. Notice that my head and the back of my neck are pretty much in line with my spine here. I'm going to open it up a little more by lifting a little higher into that pose. So again, you can use the block or not. Couple breaths here. We're going to open up the hamstring by pushing back. And again, you can use those blocks here. You can not use the block. And I want you to kind of adjust and bring those hips lateral to each other. So we're not going to lock out the knee. We're going to keep that knee soft. Couple breaths here. Rising up, use the blocks if you need it to bring yourself back up. As you bring yourself back up, we're going to bring the right knee back to meet the left, and let's do the other side. So again, you can use the blocks, bring the left foot in between the blocks, in between the hands, ankle and knee are in line. Full breath here. We're just going to lean into the left knee. We're not rising yet. We're just going to allow that to open up. Again, I feel it more in the deep area here, but you may feel it in a different area in your body. I just want you to take little sips of air. When you're ready, we're going to come up a little higher. So as you rise, you may feel a little deeper stretch. So I didn't offer this, but you could put a blanket underneath your knees. So that blanket or beach towel for support under the knees if you're feeling you have maybe knee issues or they're a little sensitive. So we're just going to be here for just a few breaths. And then as we shift it back, you can use those blocks for that balance. It may be just here that you're at. Know that wherever you are, you're perfectly in your posture. Now I'm moving my hips lateral to each other. And again, you have different heights on your block. I'm going to really kind of lean my heart towards my knees. So it's not about my head getting down to my knee. It's more about just opening up the lower back and opening up the back of the hamstring. Couple breaths here. Bring the left foot back down onto the earth. We're going to use your blocks, your hands, whatever you need. Bring that left foot back. And from here, going back into that resting pose of child's pose. So child's pose is one of the poses that you're going to go into if, you're in a yoga class, or if you're feeling a little short of breath, you want to go into tabletop or child's pose. Again, puppy pose is an option. So find what works here. Take a couple of sips of air. Inhale, rise back to your tabletop. So we opened up those hips. Bring that right foot. So you're going to bring both blocks to the top of your mat. Or, again, you don't need the blocks. You can go ahead and just bring the hands to the top of your mat. We're going to bring that right foot in between the hands. Remember, ankle and knee in line. And we're going to bring the left leg back. So I'm starting to shoot my left heel back. You can use a block here. Now once you've found your foundation, I want you to lift up slightly so the belly and thigh are just barely touching. Both legs, both quads are engaged. The gaze is down and the back of my skull and my neck and shoulders are relaxed. Couple breaths. We're going to hold the runner's lunge just for a few breaths. Now know that if you need to lower the knee, the left knee, lower it down. And beautiful. Bring the hands down onto the earth. Lower the left leg. Bring the right leg to meet the left. Let's do the other side. Bring the left foot in between the hands. Again, ankle, knee aligned. Right toes are going to come under. Lift onto the ball of the right foot. Really engage the heel back. Again, you can use your blocks here. Couple breaths here. We're going to lift up. Belly and thigh are barely touching. The gaze is down. My crown of the head is pointing forward. Relax your shoulders. We're going to be here for a few breaths. You should feel it in both legs. Couple breaths. Again, lower down when you're ready. You don't have to hold it. Couple breaths here. Nice. Lower the hands down onto the earth or onto your blocks, and then bring that left knee to meet the right. If you need to go into child's pose for a breath, take that break. Be here for a few breaths. Palms are going to come down into tabletop. I'm going to recommend that you bring them up about a palm's length. The toes are going to curl under. We're going into a downward dog. Curl the toes under. We're going to lift the knees up off the earth. The tailbone's rising. And we're going to keep the knees bent. So the gaze is down, back behind us. And then I want you to just drop the right heel, keeping the left knee bent. And then come high on the toes again and drop the left knee. So relax the shoulders. Open up the shoulders. The triceps are in and up. And start to walk it out. We call this walking the dog. Couple breaths here. Come back into both knees bent. Bring belly and thigh to touch. Look like a crouching tiger. Nice couple breaths here. Come high on the toes. Drop both heels if you can. Now maybe they might not touch the earth, and that's okay. I want you to slightly lift the heels. Hi, Storm. Lift the heels and bring them out just slightly towards, maybe 1/8 of an inch out towards the mat. So that's going to open up the hips a little. And sometimes we refer to this as blossoming the tailbone up towards the sky. I want you to bring the heart towards the thighs. Again, you may not look like me today, or you may not look like your neighbor in your yoga class. You may be here, and that's okay. Just allow yourself to open up here. This is a back opener, really nice for calves, the shoulders. Couple breaths here. Hollow out the belly. Drop the knees. Go into your tabletop. You can be here, or you can go into that resting pose of child's pose. Puppy pose is an option. So find your resting pose here. We'll be here for a few breaths. Inhale, rise back to your seated position. As we come into bring the hands to the top of your mat. We're going to lay down onto our belly. Just allow the belly to rest and bring the elbows out to the sides. This is called crocodile pose, and drop the right ear down. And inhale, rise the head and take the gaze to the opposite direction. And you can rock your belly down from left to right. That might feel good in that lower back. Again, a blanket on your mat in the midsection if you need a little support in that area. Bring your forehead down. Bring the hands next to the shoulders. We're going to bring the forearms towards the front of the mat. This is called Sphinx pose. And the gaze is down. And we're just going to be here for a few breaths as the palms come down. The shoulders and collarbone are wide. And we're just going to allow a little opening in the belly. Now, the height of your Sphinx may depend on your back. So you may need to be a little lower. Couple breaths here. And then as you bring the palms down onto the earth, bring the hands next to the shoulders. Bring the backs of the feet. So my toes are touching each other. My calves are touching. My knees and thighs are touching. So I'm creating a nice long tail. And in class I refer to this as the cobra tail. So we're creating a cobra tail here. Softening my belly, softening my pelvis. Palms are going to come next to my shoulders. I'm going to lift and extend from the crown of my head up. And I'm going to just start to pull from the crown of my head. My earlobes are rising up towards the top of my mat. My hands are going to come inwards just slightly. I'm going to lift into a low cobra. And cobras don't have hands, so you can either lift the hands or keep them down. Little sips of air, just to about the very tip top of my rib cage here. And then exhale, bring the elbows out, crocodile again, right ear down. And just take a couple of sips of air. You can rock from left to right again. And then inhale, let's take the gaze to the other side. Bring your hands next to your shoulders. We're going to rise into our tabletop. Bring the backs of the toes together back into child's pose. And we're going to rebound here. Just relax the forehead. Puppy pose is an option here. And then inhale, raise the spine, raise the torso up. Extend the legs long in front of you. And just allow yourself to be here in this seat. Move the flesh. Let your whole body just feel and experience the postures that you just did today. Go ahead and cross the legs into Sukhasana. And allow yourself to just rest here in this seat of honor. Allowing the shoulders and the elbows to relax. Allowing the crown of the head to expand up towards the ethers, towards the sky. And feel below the earth supporting you. Allowing any internal or external distractions to allow you to fall deeper. Taking a deep breath in, receive your breath. Inhale here. Exhale audibly. Inhale your breath. Exhale the breath. Let's do 2 more breaths here. As you bring the hands together in union, rubbing the hands together, feel the heat and the energy of this practice of yoga. And then go ahead and bring your hands to wherever they're drawn. Give yourself thanks and praise for filling up your own cup and taking the time. And you could have chosen to have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here, and for that I'm truly grateful. Taking a deep breath in, inhale the breath. Exhale your breath. Receiving your breath. And today I'm going to chant just briefly. And you're welcome to join me if you like. Taking a deep breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May you have peaceful thoughts.